Hey, everybody, I am Russ, and that is Lauren. And you may notice that there's a third person with us here today. And this is kind of a special one because we always love our 5 songs to start with series, but it's always from our perspective. We always say, somebody walked up to you on the street and said, I've never heard Queen. What's the first 5 songs you would play? And this is the first time ever that we've had the artists themselves come and join us and say,
Oh, wow.
this is the first 5 songs we would tell you to listen to. So welcome, Bret from the Badlees, to the channel. Thanks for being here. Yeah, thanks for being here, brother. Now, you and Lauren had gone back and forth a little bit on your on an email chain of like what it's about and the first 5 songs you would bring. And so this whole thing is going to be an education for me because people on the channel know I'm from Detroit, and we've got our own little favorites over there. But last about a week and a half ago was the first time I had heard this band, and I was wildly upset that I hadn't heard any of the music before. So everything I've heard since I love. And so you're going to walk us through the first 5 songs you, as a member of the band, would say, hey, if you're going to check us out, check these out. And I'm sure you and Lauren are going to be super excited to discuss it while I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just walk through the 5 songs that, first of all, you and Ron, the drummer, right? He sent them to me, and it was wonderful. So the first track is the one that I played for Russ initially, and it's Fear of Falling, which that's probably the biggest thing. If anybody's going to know the Badlees for anything, it's probably that song, right?
Probably that one or Angelinas Coming Home.
The next one. Yeah. So Fear of Falling, again, that's I when we were talking about these initially, I said to Russ that one of the things that I love about music, and one of the things that says, oh, this is a song that Lauren likes, is it's an upbeat song with lyrics that aren't necessarily super upbeat.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized that listening to the Badlees and stuff that you wrote during this is where I'm forming my musical tastes, probably had a big part of that. So could you want to tell me a bit about Fear of Falling and where that came from?
Where the song came from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd say as far as from the, I look at it from a couple of standpoints, from the song and the arrangement, production, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was the first song that I think that we had done where it was like the mandolin was the primary instrument.
I love it so much.
Yeah. And we were all fans of, maybe me especially, I don't know, but early Rod Stewart and Steve Earle and, artists like that all featured the mandolin pretty regularly in their writing. So that was the first one that we actually did that ourselves. And, it's kind of the song itself is kind of it just has a couple little, from a lyrical standpoint, just has a couple little vignettes in it. It's kind of like I was going through a divorce at the time, so it's it was an upbeat, sort of sad song of, impending doom.
That's pretty much what she deals in. Upbeat sound. It's actually that some of the most happy sounding songs I've ever played for her. She's like, "Oh, that's not bad," and we've deduced that it's because the lyrics are also too happy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm a Robert Smith disciple, so
there you go. Yeah. Now, and which is funny because I have gotten her more into a lot of the Cure that she had never heard before. So she's heard stuff like Close to Me and like pre-disintegration stuff. And every time she's always like, why am I so drawn to this? I'm like, I know why.
No doubt.
It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now.
But yeah, so that was the first one that I heard. And like you said, a lot of folks know it. And then you were saying, Bret, that if people don't know you for that one, the other one that they know you for sure for is Angelinas Coming Home.
Yeah.
And what's the story on that? Now, all of these were brand new to me, but I like them, so I'm anxious to hear what the stories are.
Angelinas Coming Home was really like the principal writer. Well, we all kind of contributed, but we have a co-writer, kind of our Robert Hunter, so to speak. Is a guy named Mike Nadok, and that was mainly his brainchild, and it was kind of a once again happy, upbeat song, a happy sounding song that's got a dark theme, and he had a friend coming home, heroin addict coming home from rehab, and just kind of like anticipating her coming back and what it was going to be like. And there's a lot of neat little, because we're from Northeast PA, there's a lot of neat little sort of northeastern Pennsylvania Catholic imagery in that song. Like, for instance, there's a line about a bathtub virgin, and a bathtub virgin is like the Catholics would take a bathtub, cut it in half, put it up on its end, put a Virgin Mary in it, and put it in their front yard. So
yes, they sure would.
yeah,
Yeah.
If you're from the area up there, you know what that's about. So a lot of little regional references in that song that might confuse someone else that wasn't from there.
Yeah. I was telling Lauren earlier, I'd read that y'all toured with Seeger. So being from Detroit, I know that too, where there's
we toured. We did we did a couple, like 12 years apart or maybe more, tours with Bob. Yeah.
And that's what growing up in Detroit. I when I was a kid, you just take those the lyrics with the imagery for granted. Like, you're like, oh, everyone knows about this, and then as you grow up later, you're like, you have to explain regional lyrics to people from around the nation. So like you were saying about the Pennsylvania imagery.
Yeah, Bob was great. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of music. I mean, so much music in Detroit, I mean,
oh, you don't have to tell me. I was very, very blessed growing up in Detroit with that, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I won't start naming them off. You already know.
And I actually told Lauren, I was like, I'm gonna try not to talk too much about regional music, because if I start in on Detroit bands, we're gonna be talking about all of that instead of what we're here for.
I need, before we get off of Angelina's Coming Home, I have to say that this song is probably very, very core in turning me into a word nerd, because it's the first time I heard the word resplendent.
Yeah.
And I literally had to look it up. Like, what does that mean? And now I know what it means. So I mean, I've known what it means now for 30 years, but now I know what it means.
We had our singer Pete was like renowned for being a bit of a mumbler, and he was kind of in that Eddie Vedder school of, and then we had all these odd words, and when we were coming up, we had the radio station in the area had radio contests of what the hell is Pete saying was the name of the contest.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And that sounds like that's such of the time too, because they would have taken callers and had them on the line.
That was when radio was still
It's fantastic.
It was a lot of fun. Now we're going forward in time now, right? The next one on the list is the as of the recording of this video is the newest piece of music that they put out
that we have on this list. So the track My Friends, which by the way this was in prepping for this was the first time I've heard it, and I probably listened to it at least a dozen times in the meantime. And talk about mandolin. Talk about mandolin. Like, this is fantastic. And I mean, I'm going to let you talk about it, but as somebody who like just found this and listened to it a whole bunch, like, you brought me right back to, because I listen to the Badlees all the time, and I felt the same thing as I did when I was a little kid in NEPA growing up listening to you. So like, this was fantastic for me.
Thank you. Yeah, My Friends is on that list anyways. That's probably 2 years old. Maybe a few months more than that, but it's basically 2 years old. That song was, when you're making a record, sometimes you want to have that. I know I've been like that over time, is I want that kind of, I'm still kind of an album guy, like, because I'm older, and I want that cool last track that kind of sums it up, and I was looking for that sort of couldn't even remember what the word was, but I was looking for that sort of epilogue track of the last record, and there's this great track by Pop Staples. It has this song called Friendship. Chris Stapleton had covered it, and there's not a lot of songs about sort of friendship, kind of an end of the night, kind of a closing time sort of song, and that's what I was looking for, and just about kind of like the value of friendship more. I mean, I can't put it anymore.
Like you said, that's a surprise. Like, I think most people would be like, no, there's a lot of songs like that, and then when you think about it, you're like, nope, there really aren't.
No, there's 5 million love songs, and so that was kind of what I was looking for, and and just that kind of sense of like, there's a line in the song that says, there's good guys and bad guys. It's getting kind of hard to tell who's who,
I pointed that out to you.
And I think that's kind of maybe the center of that song, and I mean, good friends hard to find.
Absolutely. And like, that's like, I was totally like feeling that while I was listening to this, because it's especially if you're the kind of person that has like moved around or like gone from place to place, like
Sure.
in your adult life, like it's very difficult to make friends as an adult. And it's especially difficult to know who's actually a friend or who just wants something from you.
Sure.
And this song like really like hit that in me. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
people mention it, just for the real basic on the surface meaning of it. People get a lot out of that tune. That we play it every night.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
We're going to go back in time a little bit for
Again.
the last two songs on the list. The next one up is a song called "Don't Let Me Hide," which I think this is like, if I was to say like, here's the first song you would listen to, this might be the one that I
for
sent
you,
someone
yeah.
toward. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like "Don't Let Me Hide" too.
Yeah, this one was I'll give you a little bit of background on how this one came about, because this one we recorded this one in Sound City. I mean, if you're a music nerd, you probably saw the Sound City documentary. That's where that song was recorded.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I know
Tom
why.
Petty, yeah, Tom Petty's keyboard player Ben Montench played on this record.
That's okay. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense.
Many things are coming into
He played organ and piano on that record. And it was kind of like, in our case, we were kind of we were kind of in label hell, and there was, to use another Tom Petty reference, it was kind of like we had done all these songs, and the label comes back and said, we don't really hear a single, and so I kind of went back to the drawing board, and it just felt like there was a lot at stake with that song, and you wanted to do it the right way. And I had it was kind of like, there's the opening line is like somebody's in the base, like writing it, sitting in the basement, and it's kind of, because I had to go down to the basement because I had my first child, and she was however many months old, and I'm like down there at 5 a.m. because that's the only time she slept, writing this song, and it was kind of like an all the marble situation, where we were trying to get this single so we could get back out there and push ourselves forward, and everything went sideways anyway, so it wasn't that poetic at the end. But it was that was a good song, and kind of I mean, that song has a little bit of a friendship theme to it as well.
It does. It does. I also like, I was an English major. I've got my degrees in writing and all that stuff. And so I'm very much a sucker for when lyrics kind of take a turn where you don't expect them to go. And I like that the line that leads into the chorus every time is almost the same, but not quite the same.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's about a wall, but it's a different, analogy about a wall. And I just thought, I was like, well, this is somebody who knows his way around lyrics. And I didn't like,
that.
yeah.
Wall you can't see behind, walls made of foolish.
All the wall lines. Yeah. I just thought it was really, really cool.
I think that is with songwriting, just generally speaking, songwriting, it's the individual lines, I mean, if I said, name your favorite 5 individual lines from whatever songs, the 5 first ones that would come to mind, your individual lines are very important in popular songs, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think more often than not, I say to you, like, in personal situations in life, instead of saying, "Oh, this reminds me of that song," I'll go, "Oh, there's a line in this one song, right?" And then I always,
got to point out that particular line.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said we all have our favorites.
Oh yeah, for sure. This discussion's great for me though, because like, did it become abundantly clear very fast why this song ended up being my favorite? Like, without me even knowing those things, I was just automatically drawn to those things. This has been fantastic so far. We have one more to go. The last song on our 5 songs to start with from the Badlees is a song called Poison Ivy. And what were your thoughts on this, Lauren?
I mean, again, like, first of all, well done. Excellent job. Again, talk about the mandolin again.
Yeah.
And also, I love the piano on this track.
I do too. Yeah, the piano's cool.
So where were you guys at when you did this? Like, was there a good story behind this one as well?
This one is actually, strangely, post Don't Let Me Hide, and we were in, and we made that record, that song and that album that song is on, in my basement, because we were in limbo with our label, and we were just trying all sorts of things, and I kind of wanted to write like one of those, I can't even really, the best analogy I could give you would be a song uh like Genesis, That's All, or something, like that, that song.
Right.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, so it just kind of feels like a little bit detached from something they would normally do,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a great pop track, and just an infectious hook, and the concept of the lyric was just kind of, love as a sort of, like love as a vaccination. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you get fed a little bit of the disease so you can go forward,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
was and that was where I was going with the lyric with that one, and I love the song. I do like that track. I think that's a great little pop song. It could be, you could kind of draw a lot of comparisons as to where that's coming from.
Oh, yeah.
It's super fun.
For
It's super
sure.
fun. Like, yeah,
I like that one.
I it's the word jaunty comes to mind. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a cool little bop to it. And
Right.
I really dig.
Before we wrap things up here and thank Bret for his time and everything, would you like to fall all over the Badleys just for a little bit,
Well,
longer?
I mean, first of all, like just being the Pennsylvania person, like Bret, you are so much more than the Badleys, right?
Mhm.
And I'm literally I'm taking my moment to tell you, like, thank you for all that you do and
Oh,
have
thank
done
you.
and continue to do for music in Pennsylvania and beyond. But like there are so many people that I know personally that probably wouldn't like be where they are with music if it weren't for you. Like
Oh,
I used to run in the same karaoke circles as Ed Randazzo. And
Eddie, I didn't
yeah,
know you were Eddie.
Eddie. I know Eddie and I know Kate and I know I
Kate?
know a bunch of yep.
Oh, wow.
So
I've
yeah.
worked with both of those guys. They're dear friends. Yeah.
Yeah. I still work at my day job. I work with Kate. We work at the same place
Oh,
still, but
really?
yeah. So they both have spoken like just so highly of you, like as a person and all that you do for like musicians locally. So like
Mhm.
the fact that you're here talking to me is fantastic. And you're talking about the Badleys, which is something that like is really like just formative in what my musical tastes are. Just thank you so much, and just keep
Oh, I
on
appreciate that.
keeping
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I was happy to come on. I was, yeah, I love to talk about songs, whether they be mine or not, but I love to talk about
Right.
songs. That's really, I mean, with music it never gets any better than when you write the song. As
Mhm.
a musician, I think anybody tell you that. So I'm always up for talking about, and Eddie and Kate both are pretty underrated as songwriters, very much so,
It's
and,
true.
and I think, just because the rest of the world doesn't know about them doesn't mean that they're not great, and I think that's a big part of any area, whether it be a bigger area like Detroit or, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, a smaller market, that is their musicians. So I'm always an advocate for that.
And
And
that's been one thing too
mhm.
with the embarrassment of riches that I grew up with in Detroit is one thing, but in the 3 years that I've been living down here in Jacksonville, my first thing was adjusting to be very much a secondary music market. But I have also in that time found out, wow, there's a ton of great local musicians here, like all day, every day,
Yep.
that I have a whole different world to look into now than I was used to before, which is
Yes, you do.
like, yeah, it's all out there if you just go look for it, no matter, like you said, no matter where you live
Yep.
in
Yep.
whatever market that you
It
live
is.
in.
It
So
is, no doubt.
yeah. Well, we definitely thank you for
Thank
taking the
you.
time with us to take care of these songs. Now, if you're a fan of our channel and you haven't heard the Badleys yet, the great news is that I'm going to put the links for all the songs we've discussed in the description. So you'll be able to check those out. Plus, you'll be able to go to the Badleys site. What do you guys got that you're coming up on next, tour dates or new music or anything that you're working on?
Yeah, we're working on, well, we have like another record written,
Mhm.
uh, and mostly recorded. So we're working on that. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll get that out there, and we're still playing dates. We have a couple here coming up in June, and we don't tour like we used to, not, but we still have a regular schedule of shows.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, like I said, if you are unfamiliar with the Badleys, this is a great video for you. All the links are down there below. If you heard anything interesting, which we certainly did, about these songs, and you want to dip into them, down below. If you're a Badleys fan, the only thing we ask of you is it's free to hit the like button and maybe share this on social media as well. Helps us out for sure, but it also helps the band out. And I would like for more people to hear explanations of these songs and the fact that they have stuff coming. All those things are things you can do for free to help out people like us, people like bands that you love. and maybe combat some of everything else we see on social media by spreading great talk about great art. Once again, as we always say, thank you so much for watching. That is Lauren. My name is Russ. Thank you so much, Bret.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.